Yeah, you see that in the camera. I'm a journalist, you do that. You're mistaken this.
2003, the year that brought the invasion of Iraq, the third Lord of the Rings movie, and the craziest bank heist in human history. The decade that was the 2000s pushed further into the great unknown. 2003 moved us into the war on terror, but also brought us loads of movies and TV shows, sports records, and the passing of several iconic figures.
You believe in Jesus? Well, you're going to meet him.
We're going to talk about the news, culture, sports, entertainment, and all that was weird in the 2000s. This is Timeline. Get ready for some intense geopolitical maneuvering, because this one is all about 2003. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel and let us know in the comments below your favorite 2000s memory. Now, rev up your fully electric engines. This is 2003.
We're back!
The year started out with the fear of a big bang as North Korea withdrew from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty.
We have no aggressive intent, no argument with the North Korean people. Yet our resolve in each case will be clear. We will not permit any regime to threaten the freedom and security of the American people.
After detonating nuclear devices and refusing to comply with the International Atomic Energy Agency inspectors, the dictatorship rebelled against calls for atomic de-escalation and officially left the treaty. Guess their favorite Black Eyed Peas song is Boom Boom Pow? Everyone's favorite guy who falsetto yodels It's Only Teenage Wasteland, The Who guitarist Pete Townshend got in some hot water when he was arrested on suspicion of possession of indecent images of minors. After a 4-month investigation, the police made a formal declaration that Townshend had not downloaded, created, or distributed any inappropriate images. However, they issued a formal warning to him not to frequent any sites where such material was created due to evidence that he had visited them in 1999.
My contribution is to take that image that people see, translate it into line, and make them see it the way I see it.
Beloved illustrator and cartoonist Al Hirschfeld died in his sleep at the age of 99. Known for his loopy and expressive drawings, Hirschfeld blazed a new trail in the art of caricature. His drawings appeared everywhere from movie posters to playbills to New York Times articles. On January 26th, Jimmy Kimmel, former host of The Man Show, received his own late-night talk show on ABC, Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Tonight is the last time I'll be welcoming my co-host, Snoop Dogg.
I'm really not good at it, it turns out. At the end of the first show, I was just like, this is not going to work.
Right.
And no one wants to be on my show either.
Super Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Jerry. And I'm going to jump over some shows that are questionable, so maybe your kids will get better programming.
As of August 2024, Kimmel has been on the air for over 20 years and just celebrated the record of being the longest-running late-night host in the history of the genre.
20 years, that's crazy. Did you hear that, Guillermo? The show goes on for 20 years.
Wow, Jimmy, that's amazing.
Wait a minute. Was Guillermo even old enough to drink in 2003?
Columbia, Houston, we see your tire pressure messages and we did not copy your last.
Tragically, the Space Shuttle Columbia had a disastrous re-entry into Earth's orbit on February 1st, 2003, disintegrating in its descent. The craft shattered and debris was scattered over large parts of Texas and Louisiana.
We lost the data, and that's when we clearly began to know that we had a bad day.
All 7 astronauts on board were killed instantly. Actor Lana Clarkson was found dead inside the Alhambra, California mansion of iconoclastic record producer Phil Spector on February 3rd. Spector would be brought up on second-degree murder charges and sentenced 19 years to life in prison. Ultimately, Spector died in prison on January 22, 2021, from complications related to the coronavirus. He was 81. Rapper Curtis 50 Cent Jackson released his debut album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', on February 6, 2003. Bolstered by an Eminem co-sign and a wild gunshot survival story.
You're a tough guy. Been stabbed?
Twice I've been stabbed.
How's that feel?
Who stabbed you in the studio?
Phil Spector?
Another entourage, yeah.
50 Cent's debut would go platinum 20 times over.
I want to thank Vivica Fox for wearing that dress, too.
Boasting smash singles like In Da Club, 21 Questions, and PIMP. Go 50. It's your birthday.
Al-Qaeda has to have planted something on this plane. The armory, they have keys to the armory.
they copied the movie, they betted a reporter.
That would take years.
So did setting up 9/11. What's happening? Freeze! Get your hands in the air!
One of the largest robberies in history transpired when an Italian gang stole loose diamonds, gold, and jewelry from a Belgian vault in Antwerp the day after Valentine's Day. The valuables were said to be worth somewhere north of $100 million. Thought of now as the heist of the century, the perpetrators were all eventually caught. Some received upwards of a decade in prison, while 3 members of the gang only received 5 years. Not too bad for accomplishing something that's century-worthy.
Citrate Heights was the last song we worked on. Kind of wanted one more upbeat song for the album, and we had been working on a cover song that wasn't quite working, readjusted that instrumental, and it turned into Citrate Heights, and then right away we're calling it the hit from the album because it just felt like even more poppy.
Hey, Apple, what is it? Aren't you glad I didn't say apple again?
At the Rhode Island venue Station, during a February 20th performance of the band Great White, a pyrotechnics display was miscalibrated and set the venue on fire. Over 100 people died and over 300 were severely injured.
It was a really small part of the show. I wish to God we never would have even thought of it.
The Great White store manager who set off the pyrotechnics pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter and served 4 years in prison.
We're going to do something now we're going to do every week on this show. It's called New Rule. No more whining about the French. At least they're standing up to the Bush administration, which is more than I can say for the Democrats.
Will you make believe with me? Charlie, to the neighborhood of make-believe.
February 27th was a sad day in the neighborhood when everyone's favorite kindly children's television show host, Fred Mr. Rogers, passed away from stomach cancer at the age of 74. Rogers was a PBS children's TV show host who promoted love, understanding, and kindness through his multi-decade-long program.
You know, that's how you can tell when you're grown up inside. You're sure that what you're planning and doing are things that can be a real help to you and your neighbor. I'm proud of you, you know that.
We remove our shoes and sweater in honor, sir. Serbian Prime Minister Zoran Djindjic was killed by organized crime members in Belgrade on March 12th. He was the 6th Prime Minister of Serbia who advocated for more interaction and trade with the Western world. Milorad Ulemic, former commander of the Serbian Police Special Unit, stated that he and mafioso Dusan Spasojevic approved the assassination of Djindjic to restore a pro-Slobodan Milosevic government to Serbia. When Elizabeth Smart went missing in June of 2002, the country held its collective breath.
Elizabeth, if you're out there, we're doing everything we possibly can to help you. Please let her go. Please.
Until March 13th, 2003, almost 9 months after her disappearance. She was discovered in Sandy, Utah, walking with her 2 captors after various bystanders called the authorities, thinking that this little girl bore a striking resemblance to the missing child they had seen on the news. Smart thinking. Smart's captors, Brian David Mitchell and Wanda Eileen Barzee, were both found guilty of kidnapping and sexual assault. Barzee was sentenced to 15 years in prison, while Mitchell was given 2 life terms.
It is possible to move on after something terrible has happened.
Since being found, Smart has become an advocate and public speaker for people who have been abused, kidnapped, or trafficked. This journey began on March 8, 2006, when she spoke to the U.S. Congress in support of Amber Alerts. A survivor and a hero.
Despite everything, would you say life is good for Elizabeth Smart?
Yes, I would say life is beautiful for Elizabeth Smart.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
On March 20th, 2003, under President George W. Bush, acting with congressional approval, the U.S. military, along with coalition forces, launched Operation Iraqi Freedom with surprise airstrikes on Iraqi military targets, including Iraq's then-dictator Saddam Hussein's presidential palace. The operation included close to 250,000 American soldiers. Among them, thousands were deployed in search of weapons of mass destruction. Roughly 3 weeks into the invasion, U.S.-led coalition forces captured Baghdad. Reportedly, over 2,000 Iraqi soldiers died during the battle. Saddam Hussein's regime fell 2 days later, represented by a now iconic image of a statue falling to the ground. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest athletes of all time, played his last professional basketball game on April 16, 2003, for the Washington Wizards against the Philadelphia 76ers.
It's time. This is the final retirement, and you don't have to worry about me putting on another uniform.
In that game, his stats included 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Jordan retired with 6 NBA championships, 5 MVP awards, 14 All-Star appearances, 2 Olympic gold medals, and 1 Looney Tunes movie.
Let's play some basketball.
We'll let you decide what's the most impressive. On April 21st, iconoclastic singer, pianist, and civil rights activist Nina Simone succumbed to a battle with breast cancer at 70 years old. Simone was a revolutionary figure in the field of jazz and fought for civil rights alongside friends like Martin Luther King Jr., James Baldwin, and Langston Hughes. Her signature tunes include I Loves You Porgy, I Put a Spell on You, and Feeling Good. On May 1st, 2003, in front of a banner reading Mission Accomplished, U.S. President George W. Bush stood on an aircraft carrier and declared that major combat operations in Iraq have ended.
In the Battle of Iraq, the United States and our allies have prevailed.
The speech provoked some controversy, with several journalists and military members claiming it implied that the war was over. The initial U.S. military presence was drawn down in the following years, and all combat troops were withdrawn by 2011, only to be redeployed to Iraq in 2014. In 2021, President Joe Biden made his announcement of the end of the most recent combat mission in Iraq.
Our role in Iraq to be available to continue to train, to assist, to help. We are not going to be by the end of the year in a combat mission.
Anyone here from New Hampshire? Wow, that sucks.
If you're from New Hampshire, then you know there's a famous rock formation that, viewed from the right angle, looks like the face of an old man. And on May 3rd, 2003, it collapsed.
Is the future of New Hampshire's tourism ruined?
Experts say over centuries of freezing and thawing, the rocks just couldn't hold up to the pressure of their own weight.
It's incredible, but it's awful at the same time.
People are really sad. It's like you lost a family member.
We miss you, old man of the mountain. We miss you.
My name is Elise. I'm 20 years old. I am applying to medical school.
To pick and choose between becoming a supermodel or going to med school.
I've actually thought about that, and medical school can be deferred indefinitely, whereas being 20 years old cannot.
On May 22nd, Annika Sorenstam became the first woman to play a PGA Tour start, not the LPGA. Appearing at the Bank of America Colonial, she followed 2 other female athletes who made PGA starts, Babe Zaharias in 1946 and Shirley Spork in 1952. The crowd cheered her at every hole. However, her presence was not without criticism, most notably golfer Vijay Singh, who commented on the fact that if he was paired with her, he would withdraw, because she doesn't belong out here. Sorenstam was considered one of the best female golfers of all time, and when she retired in 2008, she had won over 96 international professional tournaments. On May 22nd, 2 days later, Sir Paul McCartney performed his first ever concert in Russia for over 100,000 people.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The event was recorded and released in a special titled Paul McCartney in Red Square. The final song he played? Back in the USSR, the infamous Beatles cut that ironically portrayed the Soviet Union as a nostalgic place of surf rock comfort. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you.
Do you know where my dad is?
Honey, your dad's probably back at the pet store.
Pet store?
Yeah, like I'm from Bob's Fish Mart.
Pet Palace.
eBay.
So, which one is it?
I'm from the ocean.
Ah, the ocean. The ocean!
A dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest. Honestly. Couldn't resist, mate.
One day after Captain Jack Sparrow sailed the seas, musical sensation Wicked opened its premiere curtain. Starring Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth, the retelling of the world of Frank L. Baum's Wizard of Oz featured now perennial music theater favorites like Popular, Defying Gravity, and For Good. The play originally opened in San Francisco at the Curran Theater and would move to the Gershwin Theater in October of 2003 for its Broadway debut.
Make the morning time epic. Morning time epic. Morning time epic. R-double-E-S-E-S. It's the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolatey flavor. Reese's Puff Cereal, part of a complete breakfast.
Remember how everyone used to get super annoying calls from telemarketers like constantly?
Do you want to improve your credit score and get out of debt?
Again? Really?
Well, on June 26th, the U.S. government decided to do something about it by establishing the National Do Not Call Registry. The registry aimed to prevent telemarketing companies from contacting private citizens on the list. Almost 750,000 people signed up for this service on the first day, making it one of the more popular things a government has ever done. Tesla is a household name today, but back in 2003, the idea of a mass-market practical fully electric car was nearly unthinkable. Nevertheless, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning went out on a limb and founded Tesla, an electric vehicle company, to accomplish that impossible dream. And somehow, that founding led to Twitter being renamed X. History sure is weird. While staying in Colorado for a surgical procedure, star basketball player Kobe Bryant was arrested for sexual assault on the 4th of July, 2003. A 19-year-old hotel employee accused Bryant of assaulting her at the hotel, with bruises on her neck to boot. After the police questioned Bryant, he had admitted to having sex with the individual, but insisted it was consensual.
I'm so sorry for having to put you through this and having to put our family through this.
The case was eventually dismissed due to the woman in question not wanting to publicly testify.
For this reason, and this reason only, I am dismissing this case.
However, a civil case was eventually brought and settled for an undisclosed sum. That same day, iconic R&B singer Barry White died at age 58 from complications of diabetes and high blood pressure. Known for his smooth bass voice, White crooned sultry cuts like "Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe," "You're the First, the Last, My Everything," and "Never, Never Gonna Give You Up." Sorry, Panic at the Disco. Barry White was doing long-ass song titles before you were even born.
I would kill for that voice.
On July 14th, 2003, journalist Robert Novak published a Washington Post column called Mission to Niger. In this piece, he outed Valerie Plame as an undercover CIA agent, something you would think no one should be able to find out or publish. The ensuing media scandal ensnared Plame's husband, former diplomat Joseph C. Wilson, who 1 year earlier had published his own bombshell column in the New York Times, stating that President George W. Bush's accusation that Saddam Hussein bought uranium from Africa was inaccurate, an assertion he made after being sent on the investigatory assignment under recommendation from Plame herself. Ultimately, Deputy Secretary of State Richard Armitage confessed to leaking Plame's identity to Novak. While he insisted it was inadvertent, some commentators believed it was an obvious retribution to Wilson's article. The scandal led to a criminal investigation, with Vice President Dick Cheney's Chief of Staff, Scooter Libby, found guilty of 4 counts of criminal obstruction. Government officials, they have weird office squabbles just like us.
So every day for the past 25 years, we've been testing and torturing things like door hinges and hood locks. Why the car goes through so much for so little.
On July 30th, Volkswagen produced the final Type 1 of their iconic Beetle, the compact car with the instantly recognizable design that made you slug your sibling on road trips. Ultimately, Volkswagen had produced over 21 million Beetles, the most of any car from a single platform. Ever wanted to rank your top 8 friends? Ever thought about having a homie named Tom? Well, on August 1st, thanks to this nifty new thing called MySpace, you could. Co-founded by several employees of tech company eUniverse, including the aforementioned Tom Anderson, who came as a friend to every user, MySpace was the first widespread social media network and became the largest one in the world from 2005 through 2009. 13 days later, users on the Northeast trying to access their MySpace were stymied by the 2003 blackout, which left more than 50 million people across the U.S. and Canada without electricity.
We're coming past West 4th Street and the power just went out.
Creepy. I'm getting a flashback from September 11th. I don't like this.
It lasted about 8 hours before being restored. The reason? A software bug in the alarm system in the control room of First Energy. Thankfully, it was rectified quickly and power was restored.
What movie could possibly be worth driving 260 miles round trip for?
It's a new film called Revenge of the Nerds.
So what you're saying is you identify with those nerds.
Yes, I consider myself a nerd.
Star of 5 Death Wish films, Once Upon a Time in the West, The Mechanic, and countless other tough guy films, Charles Bronson died on August 20th, 2003 of a combination of pneumonia and Alzheimer's disease. He was 81 years old.
We heard shots. What happened?
I sent them a message.
The Man in Black himself, influential country superstar Johnny Cash, died on September 12th from complications of diabetes. He was 71. His career spanned decades, featuring iconic tunes like Folsom Prison Blues, I Walk the Line, Ring of Fire, A Boy Named Sue, and a late-period cover of 9 Inch Nails' Hurt.
For relaxing times, make it Suntory time.
君の瞳に乾杯. Suntory time.
He wants you to turn, look in camera. Okay?
That's all he said?
On September 14th, against the Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens running back Jamal Lewis set the NFL single-game rushing record.
Heavy on the carbs. Touchdown.
Lewis ran over 295 yards and scored 2 touchdowns on 20 carries. Thanks in part to this history-making performance, the Ravens scored a 33-13 victory over the Browns.
I guess you could stay here. I'll see you when you get here.
Oh, is she staying over? Because I may have parked behind her.
You son of a biscuit-eating bulldog.
What the French, Toast?
Did you think I wouldn't find out about your little doo-doo head cootie queen?
Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lint liquor? Pickle you, kumquat!
You're overreacting.
No, Bill, overreacting was when I put your convertible into a wood chipper. Stinky McStink face.
Fabulous. New Orbit Raspberry Mint cleans another dirty mouth. For a good clean feeling, no matter what.
Siegfried Fischbacher and Roy Horn might be well known for training tigers and performing magic tricks, but they might be equally well known for a tragic mishap during an October 3rd live performance, where a tiger called Manticore attacked Roy and almost killed him.
It kind of nipped at his hand. He smacked at it.
But Roy suffered no ill will toward the cat. In fact, en route to the hospital, he was quoted as saying, "Make sure no harm comes to Manticore." With friendly cats like those? On October 7th, Gray Davis became the first governor of California and second governor in the history of the U.S. to be recalled. The special election was triggered in July by the collection of 1.3 million signatures demanding a recall. A cavalcade of hopefuls campaigned for 3 months, and the official ballot had 135 candidates to choose from. And the winner from this fracas? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I've heard your voices loud and clear. We have tough choices ahead.
The Terminator became the Governator and did a decent enough job to win re-election. He served as California governor until 2011.
Come on.
Mommy, I'm home.
Hey, baby. How was school?
Ooh, Steve, it's coming right at us. Grab it. I don't want to get in the way. It's a foul ball. What harm can it do?
1 week later, baseball fan Steve Bartman deflected the ball away from Chicago Cubs outfielder Moises Alou, leading to a very Chicago Cubs chain of events. With the Cubs leading 3-0 in the 8th inning of Game 6 of the National League Championship Series, the Florida Marlins hit a fly ball, and Bartman reached out and interfered with the play, turning a potential out into a home run.
That's awfully close to fan interference right there.
After the shocking turn of events, the Cubs allowed 8 runs in a single inning and went on to lose the series. In the future, please do not do the Bartman.
This is Michael's mother.
Look what they've done, Michael.
She isn't happy.
Look what the homosexuals have done to me.
You can't just calm that out and reset it?
Currently, she's upset that her husband's retirement party is being upstaged by a group of gay protesters.
On November 18th, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court ruled that the state's ban on same-sex marriages was unconstitutional.
In the end, it was 151 to 45, so it was a comfortable margin. I'm very happy it ended that way.
And for all those people out there who would have lost their rights, congratulations.
In their majority opinion stated, the marriage ban works deep and scarring hardship on a very real segment of the community for no rational reason.
We're best friends since we're 2. That's like kissing your sister.
So?
You guys kiss on the lips.
No. So?
You give him a kiss on the lips, I'll give you a kiss on the lips.
On December 5th, Coldplay frontman Chris Martin and actor Gwyneth Paltrow married in Santa Barbara, California. The couple had 2 children together, Apple and Moses, and were divorced in 2016 after a much-publicized conscious uncoupling. And on December 13th, as a result of Operation Red Dawn, the U.S. military finally located Saddam Hussein in the town of Adwar, Iraq. He was discovered hiding in a spider hole, and his woozy, disheveled, bearded visage became an instantly striking, iconic image. And that's how 2003 ended. 2004 was right around the corner, bringing with it more global conflict and more iconic pop culture. But that's all for next year. Coming soon, 2004.
That's really interesting.
So what do you think? What was your fondest memory of 2003? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other timeline videos.